Alright, welcome to the updated voice submission tutorial. I'm just so happy with how much support there is, how many people have joined the Discord server, so thank you all. Anyway, the first step you're going to want to do is go ahead and react here to get the voice actor role, which will give you access to the submission channels, to the character sign up channel, and yeah, everything you need to submit your voices. After that, I'm telling you to refer to the Outer Wilds character dialogue document, which I included down here. There's a Word doc and a PDF document, just in case you don't have Word. So if we open that up here, I have the PDF. This document shows all 65 characters. After it shows their name in alphabetical order. Then if they're Nomai, Hearthian, Stranger, then it shows their gender, and then it shows their age, adult, child, elderly, adolescent, just for some general descriptors of the characters. And it also has under each one in which dialogue files they speak in. So when you scroll through that list and you decide on a character, you're going to want to go to the character sign up channel, which is where we have a list of all of the characters that need voicing. The protagonist ATP, which is the Easter egg in which the protagonist appears, that one's unsorted. So sorry about that, but I didn't feel like typing all of this. But you just go ahead, select your character, and you're going to voice with this like sound symbol if it's a minor character that you'd be interested in voicing, you know, like you're not sure you're going to voice it, but you would fall back upon it if there's no one to voice. And then you would voice with this microphone if you are certain that you're going to voice it and you're going to submit files for it. After you do that, we do that just to keep count, to see which ones are voiced, which ones need voicing, which ones are too popular maybe. Once you do that, you're going to go ahead to the dialogue files, which is the folder I've included here, zip folder. You're going to download it, unzip it, and this has all of the files for the dialogue in the game. They're all .bytes, right? But they're still just normal text files that you can open up with Notepad, right? You can open them up with any editor you want, and these are XML files, right? Let's go to Slates, right? These are all XML files, so they have these little tags in here for the game, but they're completely human readable, so you can just scroll through, and this is Slate's first lines in the game when you hit New Expedition. This is a dialogue node, and there's can be multiple of these inside one dialogue file, and inside of them, each of them has a name, and then there's this dialogue tag, which has various pages of dialogue inside of it, right? So once you've looked through there, let's say we want to voice Slate, right? We're going to record our line in .wav format, and I'd highly recommend using Audacity, just because it has excellent, it's free, and it has excellent noise cancellation features, or noise reduction features, and you can export it as .wav in there. So let's say we want to voice Slate, right? Let's just voice his first line. There's our pilot, back from your pre-launch camp out under the stars I see. We'll hit stop on there. Now if I play this, there's our pilot, back from your pre-launch. There's our pilot. Here, there's some fuzz in there. I'm using a Blue Yeti, so there's some background noise. I don't have the highest quality microphone, so I'm going to select this region here, where it's purely background noise. And I'm going to use effect, noise reduction, and I'm going to get a noise profile. So you just select where there's static and then press get noise profile. Then I'm going to select the entire audio, go back into that menu, and I'll just stick with the default settings for this. I'm no expert on noise reduction. There's just the basics you can look up further just to get the cleanest audio. Okay, let's see how that sounds. There's our pilot, back from your pre-launch camp out under the stars I see. So much better. So that's what we're going to want to submit to the Discord, right? So now we'll do file, export, and export as WAV. Previously, I had everyone exporting as MP3, but upon some new news, I want everyone exporting as WAV because that's going to give us the highest quality audio. Now when we come to the naming stage, we're going to go into the Discord, and you can see I include 2 naming conventions, right? One for Know My scripts and recordings, and the other for Hearthian conversations recordings and when you talk to the prisoner as well. So since we're talking to Slate, who's a Hearthian, we're going to use this convention: dialog file name, dialog node name, page number, right? So the file name is just the name of the file, Slate. We're not going to include the .bytes because that's just the file extension. So we'll put Slate in first. Okay. Now we're going to do the dialog node name. So we'll look and we'll see that the page is set here inside this dialog node, which has the name of Scientist 1A. So I'm going to append that to Slate, Scientist 1A. And now we're going to need the page number, right? So the page number, you just go inside this dialog profile right here, and you count the pages. Now counting begins with 0 because that's how computers start counting. They don't start with 1. So since we're voicing this line, this would be page 0. So then we're going to append a 0 at the end of this. And we'll save that. Now, when you're doing this, you're going to want to save this Audacity file in case you need to make further changes or export it again in the future. But in this case, I'm just going to delete it. Now, for the Know My naming convention, let's take the crash of Brittle Hollow, right? So Brittle Hollow, escape pod, crash site recording, right? So this is a Know My document because it's a Know My recording. And this applies to Know My scrolls as well. You're going to want to use this naming convention: dialog file name, ID. So say we wanted to voice Thatch's line, we would take the dialog file name, BH escape pod crash site recording, right? And then append the ID, which in this case would be 1. Know My files are handy because you can just take the ID rather than having to count the pages. All right. Now, another thing that was brought to my attention. Sometimes there are dialogues with the same exact text, right? So if we open up chert 1 and chert 2, we'll see that there are 2 lines that say the same exact thing from chert. So right here we have please do tell in chert 1 and please do tell in chert 2. So if we wanted to voice chert, we would use a plus to append those 2 names into the same exact file, so that you don't have to copy the same file and rename it. You would just add a plus. And another thing that was brought to my attention, if you find multiple dialog nodes of the same name, so where this was found was in Gabbro's file, so we'll scroll to Gabbro. So if you find multiple dialog nodes of the same name, for instance, in Gabbro's we have a dialog node called What Are You Doing?, which has its first line, well, what are any of us doing out here, truly, right? But if we scroll up, we'll see that there is a dialog node up here with the same exact name, What Are You Doing? But the text is slightly different. Well, what are any of us doing here, really, instead of truly? If you find 2 dialog nodes of the same name, then you're going to want to go in-game and see which one is said, because both aren't going to be used. Whichever one is said in-game, that's the one you're going to voice. Simply ignore the other one. It was something left over by Mobius. As far as I know. That's only through my testing. If both appear, let me know. Now, I left a little note at the end here that aside from noise filtering and maybe some pitch shifting, leave all the files untouched. Don't add like a mask effect or a recording effect. All of that's going to be done at the end once we have all of the voice files submitted, because we want all of those effects to be uniform. Once you're done, you're going to want to send all of your voice files to a zip folder. right? By right-clicking it, hovering over send to, and pressing compressed zip folder. Now in the Discord, I also included a format for the zip files, right? So you'll have the name of the zip, then the names of the dialogue files separated out into different folders, and then inside of each of those is all of the files, all of the voice lines that appear in those files, with the naming conventions on them, of course. All right, we're just want to do this purely to make my side in bundling all of these into the game easier. I also included here a name pronunciation MP3, so you can listen to this in case you have any uncertainties about how names in the game are pronounced. And I also included here that Timber Hearth is pronounced Hearth, and this is confirmed by the game's creators. So definitely say Timber Hearth in your voice lines. If you've already said Timber Hearth, that's all right. You can leave it that way. Although it would be much preferred if you changed it to Hearth, because that's how it's pronounced. Once you're done with all of your audio files and have submitted them to the appropriate submission channels, so since I'm voicing Slate, I would go to over here and I would submit my zip folder there. Once you've done that, you'll want to go to character sign up and react with a check mark, just like someone did to Rami here. That shows that you're finished and that I can pin your zip folder to the channel for future reference, because people will be talking in them to either critique your voices or just about anything else. I also included these two links here. You can find progress of the mod here. That's my Git repository. And I also coded a program that can find dialogue in the game, and that's how I generated this PDF here. And please, if you find any issues at any step of this process, either in a bug in my code or some mistake I made in including some dialogue, report it in the issue reporting channel so that I can see it later, because I'm not going to be on this Discord server 24/7. The mod has also now been added to the database, so you can go to the mod manager and add it right here. It is the voice acting mod right here. But this is just an early version. It has some demo voice lines that I made for Slate that don't have any noise reduction. They sound terrible, but it's just there to show you how the mod's going to work. That's all. Thanks for joining this project. I honestly just can't wait until we finish. Thanks for watching.